Welcome to my presentation for Innovations in Education in Pecha Kucha format. For those of you who do not know what that is, Pecha Kucha is a genre of presentation which limits speakers to just 20 slides and 20 seconds for each slide. This recorded presentation forms one part of my larger presentation given in person on Monday, June 7th, 2021. Okay, so the clock starts now. I call my innovation in education an oblique strategy because it tackles the problem of teaching critical writing skills through empathy and intuition from the angle of creative writing. The phrase itself is not my own. I borrowed it from multimedia artist Peter Schmidt and musician artist Brian Eno. Their oblique strategies is a card-based method for promoting creativity, first published in 1975. You can now download the stack of cards as an app on your smartphone and tap, shake, or swipe to randomly select an oblique strategy to apply to your own creative endeavor. I use them as an inspiration to my own methodology. Here are a few examples. Remember those quiet evenings? Destroy the most important thing. What mistakes did you make the last time? You don't have to be ashamed of using your own ideas. What would your closest friend do? Nobility of intentions. Mute and continue. Ask your body. With these oblique prompts as a starting point, I contrived creative writing prompts as a pre-reading activity for literary texts in the English classroom. These prompts encourage students to use similar literary techniques or genre conventions of the text to be analyzed, but I don't ask students to replicate anything, just experiment. How does engaging with the text at the creative level help students engage with the style, structure, and content of a text at an analytical level? What are the implications for the English subject curriculum and individual students' attitudes? What role do cultural expectations play in the adoption of this innovation? Other studies explore these questions in more detail. The article pictured here uses quantitative data to conclude that creative writing as a pre-reading activity in a Dutch Vier VWO class increased not only in the understanding of short story texts, but also students' evaluation of the short stories. I concluded much the same with my bilingual Vier VWO class at Rijnlands Lyceum Oegstgeest, using qualitative data. The teaching of literary analysis at RLO focuses on close reading and peel paragraph writing. While this was also an essential component of my approach, I added a creative writing prompts at the start of each lesson. Each prompt was connected indirectly to the text at hand. Describe a memory triggered by music. Tell a familiar story from a non-human perspective. You are a detective. Explain how you solved a mystery. Students confirmed via questionnaires or virtual exit slips that writing their own text first before analyzing a similar text helped them to notice certain features. More importantly, their experience as a writer helped them understand why another writer might have used that particular technique, structure, or choice of words. Here are some of their responses. There are implications here for the curriculum at the micro level, when individual teachers pay attention to the creative act while training literary analysis skills. Creative writing also has the potential to be adopted department or school-wide at the meso level of curriculum, when practitioners discuss their experiences and show evidence of success. The innovation also has the potential to influence curriculum at the nano level. I hope that by asking students to read creatively and to reflect on their experience of creative reading, I've changed the way that students perceive their own writing as well as the assigned texts. This overlaps with the psychological perspective and perceptions of behavior. Creative writing is not without its stigma. From a sociological perspective, I have had to consider the rules and established practices of the Dutch school system, which in my limited experience tends not to see creative processes as integral to the acquisition of subject-specific knowledge, as I do, but as an extra. Currently, I am also implementing my innovation creative reading in a new school context as part of my intercultural exchange. I've been teaching an 11th grade class at Rotterdam International Secondary School for 4 weeks. I have devised my prompts to obliquely relate to the texts in their IB curriculum. For the sake of time, I will show one prompt from a single lesson on Sophocles' Antigone. Note that the prompt does not make direct reference to the content of the play, but does share some underlying features. Write a dialogue in which one character tries to convince the other without success. I will now show you the exit slips from that lesson. While implementing the innovation at RIS, I found that English teachers already have one resource available to them that is similar to my innovation: the Finding Voice exercises, which use examples of literary language followed by very specific prompts. After reading an example, students are told, "Now you try it." In my experience, however, it is more effective to start with a creative writing prompt, to start with one, rather than the reading text, so that students are not merely replicating technique. I experimented with creative writing after a textual analysis, but my T4 students became bored with the task. I believe because the mystery and the freedom were gone. The writing is not the end goal of creative reading, but still it is important to share creative work. Often students were too shy to read their pieces aloud. I solved this by pairing students up first to share their writing with each other. They felt safer afterward to share with the class, and everybody's work was at least heard by one other person. This is the 20th and final slide of my Pecha Kucha presentation. Since you cannot ask my recorded voice any questions, I invite you to reflect upon my presentation for yourself. If you are a teacher, how could you use creative writing in your practice? If you are a student, how is this relevant to your own experience in the classroom? Thank you for your attention.